What's up, everybody? We are going to go over some full body cars, and then we're going to go through some Kinstretch. So I have a little bit of a lineup for you today. We have cars, sideline adductors, sideline hip IR. We're going to do some frog, kinetic hip extension, knee pals and rails, straddle ERR, and elbow hinge in the prone position. So we'll start with our cars, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to start almost like a 30-30 position. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and let's see what the cat does. Okay, he's just hanging out. So we're going to try to inhale through your nose, fill your belly, fill your obliques, fill your lower back, and up and through the ribs. Hold it there, and exhale everything out. Inhale, belly, obliques, lower back, 360 degrees, even up into the rib cage, and exhale it out. Take a big inhale, fill your belly, fill your obliques, fill your lower back. Try to sit up nice and tall, fill your rib cage, and big exhale out. From here, we're going to start with the neck and then work our way down to the toes. So I'm going to start in the kneeling position. You can also do this standing or in the, basically this would be kneeling, this would be collapsed kneeling, okay? So you can do it standing, kneeling, or collapsed kneeling. I'm going to go with collapsed kneeling. Okay, if this gets to be too hard on the ankles or the knees, you can always come up, or you can go to standing, and we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to start with the radiation. So recruiting muscles, about 30% my body is going to recruit to perform the car. Controlled articular rotation is when the joint moves around a joint axis, and we're going to articulate it in its path. So we're going to start with our neck and then work our way down. So from here, flex the head and neck down, rotate, bend into the side, extend back, look back. Try not to move your shoulders or hips. Look over your other shoulder. Scrape the chin across the collarbone. One more rotation, all the way around. Just make sure you're not going into any pain, and then other way 2 times. Squeeze the fists, keep the body tight. And there's the neck. From here, the glenohumeral, we'll get in the kneeling position here, squeezing the fists, shoulder flexion, and then internal rotation, turn the bicep forward and back, and then back of the hand next to the side of the body. From here, extension, unwind the arm, reach back and up and across the body. One more, flexion, internal rotation to extension, then extension, external rotation to flexion. And then we'll get the other side. Flexion, internal rotation to extension, and then back, out and around, and across the body. Up, keep the body nice and tense. Full circle, unwind, back, up, forward, and down. Scapula. Let's do wide scapula in a T position, squeeze the fists. We're going to protract the shoulders forward, and then we're going to elevate, and then retract, and then depress. So moving that scapula up and around, full circle. Trying to keep the elbows locked, and then trying to rotate the other way 2 times. And then you can move those hands a little bit less wide. Same rotations here. Protract, elevate, retract, depress. And then other way. From here, thoracic cars. I'm going to go to the regular kneeling position just to undo my ankles. I might even do it in a different stance like this, where I have my toes extended and I'm sitting on my heels in dorsiflexion. From here, I'm going to flex the thoracic spine down, rotate. I'm going to dip that shoulder to the hip, extend back, and then rotate to the other side, bend into that side, and then flex down and around. That'll be one rotation. Going for 2 rotations here. Remember the bend into the sides, and then other way. Rotate, bend, extend, rotate, bend, flex down, other way. Good. Elbow. We'll go with shoulders abducted. And I'll go back to collapse from here. Supinate the palms and elbows. We're going to flex the elbow, pronate or push away, and extend the elbows. Supinate, flex, pronate, extend. Supinate, flex, pronate, extend, and then we're going to keep it pronated, flex, supinate, extend, pronate, flex, supinate, extend. And then wrists, extend the wrists, fingers point down. Now we're going to bring those fingers in, all the way up and out, all the way down. In, up, out, and down. We'll go the other way. Out, up, in, and down. All the way out, up, in, and down. Okay. For the hip, we'll do this in the quadruped position. From here, we're going to push into the ground. Try not to arch the lower back and use the lower back. Just try to use this hip on this side facing you. So from here, we're going to push into the ground, tuck those toes, find a stable position here. Then from here, we're going to flex that hip forward to the elbow. We're going to abduct the hip, and then we're going to bring the knee down as the foot goes up, swings around to extension, and knee will touch knee. And then we'll go back to extension, abduct, external rotation, deflection, forward and down. And we'll go the other way, one more. Back, out, and around. And I'll switch side. Flexion, abduction, internal rotation to extension. Making a full circle with the knee. Keep the knee locked. Abduct, external rotation, deflection. One more. Out, back and around. Knee to knee. Keep that knee flexed. Extension, external rotation, flexion. Good. Okay. For the knee, we will hook underneath the thigh, and we'll try to rotate the tibia into external rotation. From here, we'll extend the knee, and then we'll internally rotate at the shin bone and knee, and then we'll flex. So we'll go out, up, in, down. Out, up, in, down. In and up, out, down. In and up, out, down. And we'll get the ankle. Gas pedal it down to plantar flexion. Squeeze that gastroc. From here, in and up, and out. All the way out and down. In and up, and out and down. To the other way. All the way up and around. And down, out, up, in, and down. And then from here, you can move the toes, big toe up, small toes down, big toe down, small toes up. Switch. Try to separate those bottom toes. Switch. Switch. And then from here, all toes up, and then try to go pinky to big toe down 3 times. And then all toes up, and then just a big toe will touch 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll switch sides. Starting with the knee, turn the tibia out, extend in and down, out, up, in, down, in and up, out, down, in, up, out, down, ankle, all the way down, in, all the way up and around, up, around and out and around and down, down and in and around and up, all the way up and around and out, all the way down, and 2 circles the other way, out and up, in, all the way in, down, out, up, in, all the way down. Okay, toes, all toes down, squeeze into the ground. Just the big toe up, small toes down. Switch, big toe down, small toes up. Switch, switch, all toes up, and then you're going to try piano it down. Pinky to big, pinky to big, pinky to big, and then all toes up. Just the big toe taps 3 times. And then lastly, we'll get the patella. Make sure the leg is relaxed. Only car we do when we're not really irradiating. So we're pushing the patella around a full 360-degree circle, measuring for any issues or tightness, seeing if it moves. If it moves in all locations, then you're pretty good. If it gets stuck, or if it doesn't move into a certain area, or you feel like you lose movement over a certain amount of time, or after you do a particular exercise, you notice that patella changes. Those are assessments you take as you perform your cars, right? So you try to understand what your body's trying to tell you regarding the environment that you're in. So we've just completed our full cars. Now we're going to do some sideline adductors with a knee hinge. So we're going to get into the sideline position. And then from here, what we're going to do is, if you have a block or a pillow or anything like that, you can use that to support your head. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flex this top hip and then externally rotate that hip and then push it into the ground. So from here, I'm creating leverage, and I'm also creating a little bit of force into the ground, as opposed to it just being stacked or over here. So I'm actually increasing the tension here, creating a little bit more radiation. I'm going to take these hands, squeeze them. I can also use a kettlebell here as well to squeeze. And what I'm going to do is take that back leg and adduct it. So move it closer to the midline. I'm going to hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly bring it down. With the kettle, you can push the kettle one way and pull it the other way to create more tension, because otherwise, if you're just squeezing it, you're not really creating more radiation. So if you want to create more radiation, push the kettlebell forward with your bottom hand here, and then pull it back with your top hand. So here we go. I'm going to adduct, push this top foot into the ground, hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly bring it down. One more just like that, all the way up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly bring it down. Now from here, we're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to do a knee hinge. We're going to bend the knee, internally rotate, and then extend the knee. Externally rotate and bend the knee. Internally rotate and extend the knee. Out, bend. Now this time we're going to extend, in, and bend. Keep the hip abducted, external rotation of the tibia, extend the knee, internally rotate and bend, and then straighten it out and slowly helicopter it down. Woo! All right, so let's get the other side. Just fix this camera here. Maybe just bring this. Probably better there. That's better. All right. So now on my other side, find that support with the block. I'm going to push forward with the kettle and pull this top hand. From here, what I'm going to do is flex this top hip and then externally rotate and then begin to create force in hip flexion and in external rotation into the ground to allow me to create more control of this adductor, which is the prime movement of this exercise right here. So from here, what we're doing is pushing, pulling, raising it up, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then slowly bring it down. And then all the way up, 5, 4, 3, push into the ground, 2, and slowly bring it down. And then one more, all the way up, hold it, 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly bring it down. Now this time, we're going to do the same thing, adduct, and then we're going to do the knee hinge. So this one is going to be a little bit harder. So we're going to push into the ground, adduct, flex, externally rotate the knee, and extend. In, flex, externally rotate the knee, and extend. And then from here, just bend the knee, keep it adducted, and then externally rotate, and then extend. Internally rotate the knee, keep it adducted, flex, and then straighten it out and slowly helicopter it down. So that was good. So the kitty's starting to do it now too. All right, so from here, I'm going to do that front leg, sideline, hip, external rotation. So we're going to get into a similar position. We're going to stack our legs to start, and that bottom hip will flex, and then we'll externally rotate that hip. So it goes from stacked to flex to all the way up. And then what we can do is if we have that block, so we can set it here, develop that force, trying to push that foot into the block, and then try to pull it away. So that would be obviously a little bit too high. So from here, push this foot into the ground, begin to press this foot into the block, and then try to pull away from it. Okay, let's just say we don't have that block. We're just going to see if we can sit up nice and tall and then try to lift that leg into the ground and then slowly bring it down. We'll do that 2 more times. All the way up and down. All the way up and down. Now from here, we're just going to lean, and as we lean, we're going to just try to keep this knee on the ground and then try to externally rotate that hip with the knee on the ground. So push this bottom foot into the ground and then pull up. Hold it 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly bring it down. One more. Up, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, other side. So we're going to stack the hips. The bottom hip will flex. And then we'll externally rotate at the hip while we press into the ground. Pull here. Again, if you have a block, you can challenge yourself by pressing into the block with the knee down if possible and trying to pull away from the block. And if you want to make it harder, you sit up taller. Same thing. Trying to keep this knee down, just like that. But we're going to pretend that we don't have the block today. And we're just going to do some lift offs here. So we're just going to externally rotate, pull it all the way up as high as you can, and then slowly bring it down. Pull it all the way up and bring it down. All the way up and down. Now this time we're kind of doing the opposite. Just going to lift the whole leg up into the air. All the way up and down. One more. Everything up and hold and down. So that would be a little hip ER there in the sideline position. Now we're going to do frog pals and rails. So going to start in the kneeling position, and then we're going to abduct our hips and flex our knees into the ground about at a 90-degree angle. So from here, what I'll do is find a comfortable position, just like this, and then I'll just lower down. Let that stretch kind of the groin area there. Make sure that my knees are at 90. I'm going to dorsiflex, or you can plantar flex. Whatever you feel the most line of tension for you. So just kind of getting comfortable in that frog line position. So we're stretching the inner muscles. We'll end up turning those inner muscles on, and then think of these as the outer or back muscles. So we're going to be going with the inner adductors and then abductors in our rails contraction. So to abduct the hip, we have to turn on the glutes medius, TFL, and to adduct the hip, we have to turn on, the adductors, gracilis, sartorius, all those muscles within that inner thigh, right? Plus your hamstrings and quads. I mean, everything's connected. So we're going to try to push all that tissue that's being stretched in the ground after about 30 more seconds. So we're going to focus here on our inhale and exhale. Inhale 4, exhale 8. Just focus on your breathing. Now we're going to begin pressing those knees, the hips, the feet into the ground, about 5% effort, 10%, 20%, 30%, turning all the tissues on, the adductors on here, all the tissue all the tension that you're feeling from the stretch, I want you to contract into the ground, 35%, 40, then 40 to 50, 50 to 60, working your way up to your safest and greatest effort and holding there for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and now we're going to willingly open up the hips more by squeezing that glute medius, pulling the hamstring in, pulling deeper into your stretch, externally rotating the hip as you abduct the hip. So all those abductors opening up, pushing into the ground, trying to open up further, and then relax. And you can kind of move around in there or go back to your passive stretch. And then if you want, you can set up and do the same thing over again. Okay, so for me, I'm going to go back to my kneeling position just to kind of reset. and then move on to the next one. So we're going to go to kinetic hip extension, just some kinetic movement in hip extension and some ankle mobility here. So what we're going to do is, if you need, use a block. If you don't have a block, that's fine. We're just going to kind of lean forward. We're going to hold the kettle. If you don't have a kettle, that's completely fine. You don't have to have a kettle. Let me just move this real quick. All right. So I'm going to get into the half kneeling position. My knee on the block. You don't have to have a block here. You don't need a kettlebell, but we're going to lean forward and then push back. When we lean forward, I want you to think about flexing your knee and turning your hamstring on as you go into dorsiflexion. Then from here, I want you to think about also extending the hip, the back hip as you do that. Now move that front foot up a little bit, and we're just going to focus more on that hip extension and glute activation. So we're going to squeeze the glute on the way up, pull into the stretch, and then pull yourself back. Pull in, and then pull back. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. First, use a little bit of ankle mobility, and then begin to use just the back hip by bringing that front foot up a little bit, just pulling into that hip extension and then pulling out of it. Maybe pulling in, pushing away, squeezing the glute on the way back, pulling in, and pulling back. Okay, for the ankle, going to get into a combat position or just a half kneeling position. And all we're going to do here is just lean the knee over the ankle and then back. Okay, you can, again, add load here in the combat or half kneeling position, and you can kind of move forward and back. So maybe pulling yourself into dorsiflexion on the way down, and then plantar flexion, pushing into the ground on the way up. On the way down, pulling in, and on the way up, pushing down. Pulling in, pushing down. Pulling in, trying to fight that isometric contraction. Pulling in, pushing down. Okay, switching sides. So option 1, and then option 2. Oops. Just kind of going forward and back first. And then from here, pulling in dorsiflexion, pushing away plantar. Pulling away, pulling in, pushing away. Turning on this active front tissue here on the way down. Squeezing that, and then using the calf to push away. Pull in, front, push away, back. Pull in, and push. Pull in, and push. Pull in and push. All right. So next we're going to go with some knee pals and rails. We'll get into the sideline position again. What we'll do is, if you have block or whatever, you can hold it here. You're going to get into knee flexion, hold on to the ankle. You can also do this on the stomach, just like this, okay? From here, what I'm going to do is just stretch this position passively for about a minute. Inhale 4, exhale 8. Make sure that you're not flexing your hip. Your hip's at neutral. Just stretching tissue on the front side of the thigh. So you're going to be stretching this tissue, activating this front tissue, and then you're going to activate the hamstring. Okay, so pals contraction, we're going to try to snap out of this position. Rails contraction, we're going to try to pull deeper into this position actively. So first, passive stretch. Inhale 4, exhale 8. Remember, 2 minutes is the minimum to change the nervous system in any way. So in a class like this or a session like this, we're kind of moving through things a little bit faster. So if you want to make real changes, you need to focus more on 2 to 3 minute passive stretches before these active stretches. But this is going to help kind of go through things temporarily. And for some people, working up to 2 minutes is the hard part, right? Sometimes you can't even hold this for more than a minute without cramping. So from here, we're going to start fighting out of this position, kicking out about 10% effort. So trying to kick out at 10%, just that way, using the hand for isometric. 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Now, this is 70% of my effort here. Now, if I have a bad knee issue, I'm going to go to 70% of my safest effort. So I'm not going to 70% total effort. I'm going to my safest effort, 70, 80, 90, then 100% my safest effort for 10 seconds. So, and then from here, our rails contraction, letting go, and then trying to pull this heel as hard as you can toward that glute, actively turning on the hamstring for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and then slowly relax. And then go back to your passive stretch. But in this case, we're going to go to the other side. So I like that sideline position or on your stomach. I'm kind of giving you both examples here. So stretching here the quad. Inhale 4, exhale 8. Just focus on your breathing. Breathe into the abdomen wall, obliques, lower back, up into the rib cage. So after this, we're going to get into the straddle position and do some end range rotations here. All right, from here, we're going to try to kick out of this position or try to extend the knee, but we're not going to be able to because the hand is holding the foot. 10% effort, 20% effort. Give you a different view. 20%, 30%, 40%, 50 to 60 in my safest effort, to 80, all the way to 100, safest and greatest effort for 10 seconds. And then from here, rails pull the hamstring into flexion here, knee into flexion, and then let go and see if you can keep that heel toward the glute and actively pull that heel toward the glute deeper into hamstring flexion as hard as you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then slowly You go back to your passive hold, or you can just relax that leg. Now, this isn't going to be beneficial for everyone, so you just have to listen to your body and make sure that you don't go into any pain. From here, straddle end range rotations. So we'll get into the straddle position, and then from here, what we'll do is, if it's too tight or if it doesn't feel right, you can bring your feet in closer, and you can also put your back against the wall like this. Okay, and this will help you kind of cheat a little bit. But if you don't want to cheat, then you can straddle your legs out like this. From here, we're going to face one leg, either or. Try to find your widest, most comfortable position without over cramping. And from here, face one leg. And we're going to try to lift this heel off the ground. We're just going to try to lift off to start here. So we're going to push into the ground. Use your chest, use your lats, use your core. Press this heel down. And then we're going to use all that energy to pull this leg off the ground like a UFO. So we're going to go ahead and push into the ground, up, hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now, when we do it, we're going to go up and we're going to try to internally rotate the hip, and we're going to try to externally rotate the hip. So think either plantar flexion or dorsiflexion. We're going to start with dorsiflexion. So we're going to raise the hip into flexion. The foot will go off the ground, and then we're going to try to internally rotate, and then we're going to try to externally rotate with the heel off the ground. So here we go. Pushing into the ground, slamming that foot down, embracing the core, using your chest and lats to engage with the ground with the hands, lifting off. From here, trying to internally rotate at the hip, and then from here, trying to externally rotate at the hip. Keep your ankle in dorsiflexion, all the way internal rotation. External rotation, one more. In, and then out, and then slowly bring it down. So you may have gotten a quad cramp there. If you need to go like that and come back in, that's fine. From here, I'm going to do the same thing in plantar flexion. I'm going to go plantar flexion, internal rotation at the hip capsule, and then external rotation. So here we go. We're going to push into the ground, inhale, up, internal rotation, and then external rotation. In, and then out, in, and then out. And then slowly bring it down. Next, we're going to finish with end range rotation. So we're going to try to draw circles with this foot here. Pretend there was a pen facing the foot, and you're going around that pen or pencil. So here we go. We're going to go all the way up into the air, going around. 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go 5 the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and slowly bring it down. Okay. If you're cramping up, that's fine. You can always just shake it out. You'll live. All right. From here, we're going to face the other leg. Let's go ahead and focus on the opposite side. You're going to begin with the lift off and dorsiflexion, and then plantar flexion, and then we're going to perform some internal and external rotations at the hip while it's in the air, followed by end range rotations. So starting with passive range liftoff in dorsiflexion. Inhale, push into the ground, embrace the core, lats, chest, back. Opposite foot pressing into the ground. You're not leaving any muscle out. And elevate up off the ground. 3, inhale, 2, and up. And down. And up. And down. Try to stay in dorsiflexion. One more. Up. And down. Okay, same thing. Plantar flexion. All the way up. And down. Up. going to dorsiflex, lift up, internally rotate at the hip, and then externally rotate at the hip. So you're going to go up first, and then internal rotation. So up, in dorsiflexion to start. So toe is going up toward the sky. Up, internally rotate, and then out, externally rotate. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, then out. Ooh, that's killer. All right, same thing, plantar flexion. Here we go. Up, in, and out, in, out, in, out. Got two more. In and out, in and out. Definitely harder on this side. All right, now we're going to go with those end range rotations. Pretend there's a pencil in the air or a pen, and you're circling your foot over that, okay? It could be like right here in the air, about 2 inches from your toes. Okay, we're going to start in plantar flexion, go around 5 times one way, 5 the other, and then we'll go into dorsiflexion. So here we go. Inhale, radiate, and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then other way. 1, 2, 3, 5. Ooh. Dorsiflexion. Here we go. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, this one's bad. Other way for 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a nightmare. All right, so we're done with that. Now we're going to do some elbow hinge in the prone position, prone swimmer, axials, and child pose lift off, and then some free flow stuff. All right, so we're going to start on your stomach. We're going to find a good place. So press those feet into the ground. Okay. It's pouring out there. It's like ridiculous. All right. So from here, we're going to go into shoulder extension. We're going to lift off, and then we're going to extend at the elbow and then set down. So it's a shoulder extension lift off with elbow flexion at 90, and then an elbow hinge, and then elbow flexion, back down. Well, I'm going to do this with my head down. I'll just give you the cues to go up and down. So we can inhale, radiate, lift up, hold, extend, bring it down, then we'll switch. We'll do about 5 each side. Opposite hand is lift, pushing into the ground. So we'll just start with the left arm first. 1, 2, inhale, up, extend down, 3, 2 more, up, and down, 1 more, and down. Switch side, inhale, radiate, lift up, extend, bend, down. Inhale, radiate, lift up, extend, bend, down, 3 more, up, extend, bend, down, 2 more, up, back, down, 1 more, up, back, and down. Okay, now we're going to try both arms at the same time. So begin by lifting up, extend, bend, down. Up, extend, bend, down. Up, extend, bend, down. Two more. Up, extend, bend, down. One more. Up, extend, bend, down. Ooh. All right, so now we're gonna do some prone swimmer axials. Prone swimmers first and then axials. So what we're gonna do is we bring our hands behind our head. We're gonna lift our hands away from our head. Fingertips are touching. And then we're gonna extend the elbows to a Y position. And internally rotate at the shoulders to a T. And then we're going to make it to an A position here. The hands behind our back. And we're going to try to lift those hands up our back. Bend at the elbows. And then slowly relax those shoulders. And then that would be half of rep 1. To start, half of rep 2 or half of rep 1. Lift off, extend the elbows, externally rotate to a T, all the way to a Y, and then back to home base. Do one more just like that. Lift off, extend the elbows to Y, internally rotate to a T, all the way to an A to extension, and then extension into elbow flexion and relax. Lift up, extend the elbows, externally rotate to a T, flex to a Y, and then back to home base. All right, so that would be your prone swimmers. From here, we're just gonna go to a prone T and do some axials. We're gonna go to a T position, lift up, externally rotate, and then internally rotate. Externally rotate, squeeze biceps, push the feet into the ground, squeeze the core, internally rotate, externally rotate, in, and then externally rotate, and relax. All right. So last we got child pose lift off. So we get into that child pose position. Then from here, we're going to see if we can lift one of the arms off the ground without using your scapula. So trying to go deeper into shoulder flexion. If you want, you can adapt it by moving up like this, or make it harder by moving down. So from here, find a comfortable stretch, and then from there, push down with one fist, and then try to lift up and off with the other shoulder moving into flexion, and then relax. Two more. Push down with one arm, pull up with the other, and then down, up, and down. And then switch. 3 reps. Up, and down, up, down, up, and down. All right, from here, we'll just round the back, tuck the chin. Flex your toes, heels to glutes. Round that back, and then move to quadruped, and then segment one vertebrae at a time. Then head to tail. right? So all warmed up. Now we can go through some free flow. So I'm going to get into the squat position, kind of move from here. This is going to be a little bit probably more advanced, so you can either join in or you can just watch. From here, I'm just going to do some knee taps. I'm going to go to internal rotation and adduction in the squat. And then from here, I'm just going to get into my combat stance. Just go forward and back. Let me see if I can transition to squat to combat on the other side. Same thing. Just do 3 rocks and see if you can move forward on that foot and then switch. And then rock 3 times. One more. Go back to the squat. And then we'll go ahead and stand all the way up. Whew. That's going to do it.